On today's podcast, we have the final instalment of the off-season mini-series of finding the top 5 Premier League players of each position. Today's one was a was a hard one, given the top 5 Premier League strikers, and it was also a controversial one. On to the podcast we go. Hello, and welcome to the next instalment of the off-season mini-series of the best Premier League players in every position. Today's episode is going to be on strikers. It is the last episode we're going to cover on this, as we have covered goalkeepers, fullbacks, centre-backs, centre midfielders, wingers, and now we're on to strikers. Once again, I'm joined by Reza. How's it going, buddy?
Good. Oh, good. We could do managers.
Yeah, we could do managers. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's only one as number one, but if you want to do the rest,
Yeah.
if you want to do 2 to 5, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. Like, managers don't get a lot of love, do they? And it's always
They don't get no love.
It's always the outfield players, right? So maybe it'd be quite quirky to do top 5 managers.
Do top 5 managers. We
do
keep
that as a
top
as
team.
a special.
A special. I mean, we can go team as well if you really want. Just build a team. I mean, I'm sure it's just going to be United with a couple other players, but we can build another team.
Cancelo.
He has to be in it no matter what. Cancelo, best manager. Right, so as we said, if anyone hasn't watched it before, we go from 5 down to number 1. It'll either be Rez or myself going first. I believe on today's episode, I'll be going first. I'll be giving you my top 5, starting at number 5, ending at number 1, and then once I've gone, Rez will be giving you his top 5 from 5 to 1. So, right, should we start the episode, Rez?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think it makes sense for you to go first because we've done, obviously, this is number 5, right?
Yep.
And I've gone first 3 times.
You have,
I
yes.
believe. You've gone first once. So let's make it 3-2. So yeah. And plus, you get the headline as well. Strikers. Everyone wants to be a striker. So yeah.
That episode, what's that film? Vinnie
Mean
Jones.
Machine.
That's it, yeah.
Like,
Strikers to me left, defenders to me right. Not one person goes there. Everyone goes like striker, like, yeah, I'll sort this later.
Everyone fancies themselves as a finisher until they actually have to finish.
Oh.
COVID. Right.
Yeah.
Right, you ready then?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
So then.
So
Numero 5.
Numero 5. Hey, this actually really hurt putting him at number 5. Like, it pained me deep down. It's he had to be in there for me. It pained me very much. It hurt my heart when I put him at number 5. But my number 5 is Eric Cantona.
Okay.
I can't have the reason why I love football not in my top 5 strikers, or not top 5. He'd been in my top 5 players of the Premier League history. He is, to me, the reason why I love football, the reason why I fell in love with Manchester United. He is everything to me. What a fucking player that he was. He was exactly what United needed at the time when we signed him. I still, even now to this day, whenever I go back to my mum's house and I see old pictures of myself from sort of like 1997 onwards, I had like my collar up, Man United shirt, collar up the lot. And yeah, he's the reason I fell in love with football, and what a fucking player that he was. So he's my number 5, and I love him, and I wish I could have put him at number 1, but I don't think I'd get away with putting him at 1, so I'd have to at least put him in there at 5.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely inspired a generation, right? And you're right, the collar up. Lee Sharp did it first, I believe, for United. But yeah, he was just unbelievable. I remember the goal, the Liverpool goal in the FA Cup final. Unbelievable when Liverpool had that shitty green and white shirt there. Then I remember the penalty he scored on his first game back after the ban, with the Palace fan incident. Just an incredible player. We spoke about longevity in the previous episode, right? And why certain players didn't get in because of longevity, etc. For me, Cantona's another one of those. I remember he retired, was it 30? 29, 30?
Yeah, he wasn't very old when he retired.
I don't understand. I never fully understood why. Obviously, he retired on top, but he never won the Champions League. United were when he was playing. We were quite bad actually in the Champions League. Fergie hadn't quite figured out the five in midfield,
Yeah,
which would go on to be basically the reason that we actually did quite well afterwards. Um, so I mean, he is just absolute legendary. And when you think of Premier League strikers, he's one of the first names that will kind of spring to mind. So no, I completely understand, but I do also agree that I don't think he. It's difficult. Is deserves. I guess deserves is the right word because that's ultimately what we're judging here. But I don't think he deserves to be any higher than five.
like you
So I think
say, it's a game of opinions, and like I had to put him in there just simply because of my own personal reasons. I'm sure other people, when they do their own lists, when they're thinking about this, will look at a certain position and they'll be like, "Well, there's a reason why he's in there because I love him." And yeah, that's the reason why he's definitely making my
yeah,
list.
that's perfectly justifiable. So yeah, nice, nice.
So he's my
All right
number.
then. So Cantona number five. Let's see
Mhm.
you number four.
It's a very difficult list. This was for me, very very difficult list, and I'm sure this might shock a lot of people. My number four is Sergio Aguero.
Yeah. Okay.
To me, he is an unfucking believable striker who loved to score goals, was unbelievable inside the box, and I don't think we've seen many players like him in terms of the Premier League era, that is. And very unlucky. If Thierry Henry is not around, he's probably the best foreign striker to ever grace the Premier League. Just simply the fact of how long he did it in the Premier League for, how many goals he scored in the Premier League. I know he didn't score the same amount of goals as sort of Alan Shearer or up in that bracket, but the fact that you look at him and you're like, he's not very big, but he just scored goals, and he was an unbelievable striker. Played for an unbelievable City team, and he was part of their spine. Really, everyone talks about the spine defensively, but he was that. Every time wanted a strong spine, you need someone that's going to put the ball in the back of the net, as well as a good midfielder and a good centre back and a good goalkeeper. And he was just perfect for Man City. And I would have given anything to have him at United at the time that City had him. But yeah, he definitely makes my list.
Yeah, I agree with everything you've said. He's great finisher, decent on the ball. Played. I mean, obviously, he's unfortunately delivered one of the highlight moments of the Premier League era. The whole Aguero, fuck me. But yeah, just an unbelievable player. I remember when they signed him, 32 million, 34 million, something along those lines, and thinking, why aren't United in for him? Um, I understood in a way because obviously, I think at the time, obviously, we had Rooney, we had Berbatov. I don't know if we had Tevez as well. Um, it was just, it wasn't the right time for United to be buying a player like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, superb footballer.
yeah,
So yeah,
he was
completely
unbelievable,
agree.
unbelievable. Yeah, what he did for City as well. Yeah, I can't speak highly of Aguero. One of those players where, as a United fan, you're meant to hate him, but you can't. You just can't. You can't hate him.
No,
He's so good. You can't. Similar to me for Suarez, you can't. As much as I want to hate Suarez, you just can't deny how good of a footballer he really is. But Aguero's not as much of a cunt as what Suarez was. So Aguero for
nowhere
me,
near, no contest.
no contest really. Aguero for me was just an unbelievable footballer and deserves to be in any top five list.
Yeah, no, agreed. All right then. So we're going for your top three. So in third place,
Third place. My third place is Wayne Rooney.
yeah,
Um, United's top goal scorer, England's top goal scorer. I know England doesn't really count. I believe Kane's going to surpass him, not soon, but I don't know how many goals Kane's on, but I believe Kane will surpass him.
it's not
Um,
far. Yeah,
he's
it's not
not far
far
off him,
at
and
all.
Kane. You'd like to think that Kane's going to be playing for another 4 to 5 years, so you'd think he'd definitely overtake him in terms of international. But to be Man United's top goal scorer, considerably when some of his career he was playing wide left, some of the career he was playing a little bit deeper for United in terms of midfield. When he did have his form, when he was up top, in sort of, I believe it was like when we got rid of Cristiano in like 08, 09, oh 09 it was, to about 2011, and we played with Rooney, just Rooney as our sole striker, and he was scoring 30 goals a year. You just think that for everyone that thought he couldn't do it, and he was just banging in goals left, right, and centre. And
It's the type of goals, right, as well.
yeah, and the one thing that will always make me laugh about Wayne Rooney, it's nothing actually to do with Wayne Rooney itself. Is my dad comes into the story. When I remember talking to my dad about him, and I say to my dad how good he was, and my dad was like, "Yeah, but he's not that good in the air." And then he went on a run of about 8 games where he scored 7 headers, and I'm just sitting there like, every time someone says something about him, they're like, "Oh, he's not good at this though," and he just proves people wrong. Um, and I think what lets him down quite a bit is that when he was in the team with Wayne Rooney, I think a lot of Wayne Rooney with Cristiano Ronaldo, a lot of people thought he was going to be the same as Ronaldo. So they thought that
Yeah.
he was going to be that next best player in the world. And don't get me wrong, he was unbelievable. Obviously, Cristiano Ronaldo's a different level. So he was like the best of the next. He was like underneath. He's like it's like Ronaldo, Messi's that top level, and then you've got like the tree underneath. You've got a handful of players that are like the next best thing. If you
I
haven't
mean,
got
it may
Messi,
be an
Ronaldo,
unpopular opinion, but I always thought that out of the two of them, because if we are going to draw comparisons, Rooney's the more naturally gifted.
oh, he is
The
definitely.
raw talent. I mean, you look at that goal he scored against Arsenal as a 16-year-old for Everton. Obviously, when he was just about to turn 17, so but he was still 16. I mean, unbelievable, and just the raw talent, the way he played football as well. Every single the chasing down. I mean, when he was playing for was it DC United he went to?
Yes, and he
Um,
outrageous tackle on
there
that
was
ball.
yeah, and then
I'll
the
never forget
pass
that.
afterwards, you're like, that is Wayne Rooney. That is literally
Yeah,
epitomizes Wayne
if
Rooney in his
someone was
career.
like, what in a clip describe Wayne Rooney, you just have to pull that up, and that just describes him in one.
Yeah,
Selflessness for the team. I know he's had his fair few things off the field that we won't talk about. With grannies and God knows whatever else, and brasses, God knows whatever else he's done.
yeah. I mean, he's not a Ryan Giggs though, so
But
like,
his football ability, yeah, Jesus Christ, like he was just unbelievable. And yeah, what a footballer he was, and deserves to be Man United's top goal scorer. That I don't think, unless we somehow get a striker out of somewhere that's going to be ridiculous amount of goals, I don't think that's going to be beaten for a long time.
no, no,
But
I agree.
Wayne Rooney was always going to be on my list. But I think, unlucky for him, my one and two are sort of, I'd think, probably most people's one and two. Um, which is the reason why I don't think Rooney gets higher than what he normally gets.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so
No,
Wayne
that's
Rooney
fair.
is my number three.
Nice. All right. Well, you mentioned your one and two, so it leads on nicely. Numero B.
Numero B. I don't know whether this is going to shock you or not. My number B is actually Thierry Henry.
No, mate.
Yeah,
No, mate.
yeah, that's my number B.
No, we're gonna have to call it now. This is some next level bullshit,
So you're putting him ahead of the goat Alan Shearer.
mate. Fuck. I'll let you justify it. Let's hear it.
I'm going shit. What's the main job of a striker? Score
Entertain.
score goals. That's what they're
No,
paid to
it
do.
is. It is.
That's
I'll let you speak. I'll let you speak.
it's like you just sat there and gone, right, so this one's going to hit the fan. If anyone actually hears this, they're going to want blood, so we'll let Tan take the rap for this. Um, it's going to be very difficult. I obviously know Arsenal fans are going to very crucify me, kill me. They're going to say, oh, it's only because you're a United fan you're saying this. Um, Thierry Henry, unbelievable footballer, unbelievable. He is the best striker, foreign striker that's played in the Premier League history. His mentality I've always loved. Is get on my back and I'll carry you everywhere you want to go. Um, countless Premier League titles for Arsenal. Um, and yeah, he was. It's a very difficult decision, and this actually strikers actually took me a very, 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 very long time to get what I wanted and for who where to go where in my list. But I've always still felt that my number one is my number one, and will always be my number one unless someone comes along and genuinely outscores him. But yeah, so that is why Thierry Henry is my number two.
So yeah, so after lifting all that bullshit, you know who your number one is, mate.
Yeah, my
I
number
can't believe
one.
you're going to do this to me.
My number one
This
is
is
Alan
fucking bullshit.
Shearer.
The geezer's a scumbag as well, mate. The shit he used to get away with on the pitch, honestly, unbelievable.
It's like you got a
He used to beat
vendetta
the shit
against
out of
him.
people.
That's
No, but
fine.
he used to beat the
It's
shit out of
lovely.
people
Yeah,
because he's
brilliant.
English. He gets away with
Yeah,
it.
that's fine. It's brilliant. If he'd have signed for United, you'd have been like, "Oh, it's beautiful. I love it."
Well, I mean, we did try, didn't we?
I'm not gonna
A
lie,
few
mate.
times.
One thing I say to yourself: if someone can score 25 to 30 goals a year playing for Newcastle United, and obviously Blackburn were going for the league with us at the time, but Blackburn and Newcastle United, he was scoring 25, 30 goals a year, and to score 200 and was it 81 goals he got in the Premier League? That to me is ridiculous, and he has to be in there. He has to be number one. If it's going on who's put the ball in the back of the net the most times, it's Alan Shearer. So Alan
But that's not
Shearer,
what we. It wasn't like who's the top fucking goal scoring strikers in the Premier League era, is it?
he's best striker in the Premier League, mate.
But anyways, I mean, listen, I do get it, and he was unbelievable. Again, like we said about Rooney, it's the type of goals he scores as well, right? Because he wasn't just a poacher. He wasn't like Nistelrooy, for example, where it was just poaching basically
Oh
most of
fuck
the
me,
time.
mate. Yeah,
He did score some unbelievable goals,
yeah.
and you're right. Look, his achievements at a club like Newcastle, who were literally going for nothing the entire time he was with them, unbelievable. Obviously, he did win the Premier League with Blackburn, um, so he does have a trophy. He was at Blackburn, wasn't he? It was him and Chris Sutton up
He
top for them,
was.
wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, he was
Um,
a Blackburn.
so yeah, look, he is obviously he's he's the greatest goal scorer in Premier League history. That's not what this list is, but anyways.
Oh, sorry, I misread striker. Right, so after I get absolutely destroyed for this online, we might as well go for your top five then. Who is your number five?
Sergio.
Sergio. Well, that's the only song I used to
So
like in Man
interestingly,
City.
well, interestingly enough, four of the five, like the last list, the midfielders, exactly the same.
Okay.
So yeah, so Aguero at number five. Don't really have much to say that you haven't already said. Just I was incredibly envious of City when they signed him. You could see that he was top quality, and he just he took City to. I don't want to say he took City to another level. I don't think that's fair. He helped take City to the next level and become basically the club that they have become now. And
He was exactly
they
what
they
City
missed him.
needed.
Yeah, well, they missed him massively, didn't they? They have been missing him. I know that obviously they've won the league and everything, but there's been games where they've been really wasteful, and you're looking at it thinking if they had a goal scorer, they'd be scary. Obviously, they're assuming now they have the goal scorer in Haaland. It'll be interesting to see how he does perform, but they have missed Aguero.
If they had
So
Aguero
yeah,
last
for
year, they
me,
would have wrapped it up in
yeah,
April.
100%,
They wouldn't have gone
hundred
down to the
percent.
last game of the season. It'd have been April. They'd have wrapped it up easy.
So yeah, so Aguero number five.
Guerrero number five. Very nice. Who is your number four?
So my number four is Didier Drogba.
Didier Drogba. Jesus.
What do you mean?
I'm joking, mate. I'm joking. Carry on. I just wanted to do it back
No, incredible, incredible. I remember when he first joined, and he wasn't great, and he took a bit of time to actually get into his groove. I remember a lot of time. I think part of it was obviously not many people knew who he was, knew of him when he did sign for Chelsea, and he was quite expensive 24, 25 million, which at the time was a big amount of money for someone who relatively unheard of. At least I hadn't heard of him, and I obviously I know that he was doing well in the French league at that moment in time, but I just hadn't heard of him. So when they announced the signing, I was like, well, okay. Um, and he became an absolute beast. He had everything. He had skill. He had a turn of pace. He could head. He could finish with both feet. He was strong. He was athletic. Proper. He could play as a target man. Could play with the ball at his feet on the ground. He was just running through, running onto balls. Great, fantastic player. And I've mentioned it before. You've got Czech, Terry, Lampard, and then Drogba up top. That centre of that Chelsea team, unbelievable, absolutely incredible. And he was the focal point of that. So yeah, Didier Drogba, number 4. It's just he didn't do it. Obviously, we talk about longevity and everything. He wasn't there for a long time, so I think that's what puts him down slightly. And he had obviously he left and then came back where he wasn't as good, but he was old, right? I think he joined Chelsea. He wasn't particularly young when he joined Chelsea. But yeah, anyways, Drogba
Um,
number 4.
he like I say, yeah, Eric Cantona's in there just because of sentimental reasons to me, but Didier Drogba was a fucking unbelievable player, and he was what I'd call Mr. Big Game. Every
Yeah,
time there was a big game, he would turn up. It doesn't matter. Like sometimes a lot of people underestimate players. Sort of Romelu Lukaku is probably the best example of it. They overhype a Romelu Lukaku who will score 20 goals a year against West Brom, Derby County, Norwich, and the teams that are down the bottom end. But when it comes to the big six, they're nowhere to be seen. Whereas Drogba's one of the players that would score against the little clubs, but he'd probably put in a better shift and a better performance against the best in the world. And at the time when he was up there, he didn't. You got to think when he was at his best. You look at the defenders that were around that he was playing against. You're sort of going up against like Rio Ferdinand and Vidic, sort of thing, and other defenders that were in the league at the time. You're just thinking, Jesus Christ, like he's not going up against like sort of bad defenders, going up against some of the best in the world. Very
yeah,
nice.
no, 100%. He, yeah, I think you signed up perfectly. Big game player is a really good way to describe him.
Yeah, I always had him as a big game player, and I'll never take that away from him whatsoever. I was only mucking around with you when I said Jesus. I just wanted to give that to you a little bit. So yeah, guess your number 4. Who is your number 3?
So it's Wayne Rooney.
Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney.
I think that when he first started playing, you saw straight away there's a player in there,
Yeah.
and I think that the only thing that stopped him becoming what he could have become, what a lot of people expected him to become, was professionalism. I think that his off the field antics scuppered his career, not scuppered, but they hurt his career, right? Like you touched on it, like the grannies, the prostitutes, the things that he did, the drinking and everything as well, the more unsavory things that he did off the pitch. I think had he not done that and focused solely on football, he could have been probably the best player that England have ever seen, and one of the best players that we've ever, certainly in our lifetime, that we've seen. He was that good on his day, unbelievable. My favourite Premier League goal of all time is his volley against Newcastle. Like he's arguing with the ref because the ref didn't give a decision. And then all of a sudden he sees the ball dropping and he just runs and puts everything through it, all of that venom through that ball. And my unbelievable, the spin, the pace, it was literally my favorite goal, because partially because of the argument with the ref at the start as well. It just tops it off. And again, it's we said about the DC United goal, typifying Rooney. That was another one, the Newcastle goal.
Yeah.
And then obviously then there's the goal against City. right? And
Over a
okay, a
kick.
lot of people will try and beat him up without it. It come off his shin. I'm sorry, it still went in the back of the net. It was still hit sweetly. Um, Shin, foot, whatever. Great goal, massive goal. Again, at a major point in time. There was also stuff like the Champions League final when Barcelona. Obviously, there were two Champions League finals, but when Barcelona, I can't remember which one it was, whether it was first or second one.
Wembley.
And he again he stepped up. He scored a really good goal, and it looked like we may have a chance of clawing our way back into the game. Obviously, it wasn't to be, but yeah, I just think that he. You're right. I think that when he played alongside Ronaldo, there was always that comparison between the two of them, and it wasn't fair because they're completely different players. But in terms of raw talent, raw ability, Wayne Rooney was better. He was a better footballer than Cristiano Ronaldo. It just wasn't to
I
be. It
think.
just say,
Yeah. I think I was just gonna say. I think that gives you the how good Rooney was. The fact that you're talking that he was technically better than Cristiano Ronaldo. Like I know Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't the most gifted, but he still was gifted. You have to be gifted to be as good as what he is. But he's worked as hard on it.
yeah, selfless as well. Rooney,
Yeah, for
he'd
the
do what
team.
was needed to be done.
For the
Yeah,
team.
and it was again, it was to his detriment at times because sometimes he dropped so deep, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Hang on a second, mate, we need you up there. Where are you?"
We haven't got a striker. Where is he? Oh, there he is, stopping them going through on
um,
goal.
Kane, it's interesting enough. Kane's similar in the sense that he keeps dropping deep, and he's lucky, he's fortunate in a way that he's got Son there, and obviously Kulusevski now as well. But
And Richarlison now.
well, yeah, no, mate, that's a shocking signing to be for that money. Fuck me. But but yeah, it's yeah. Wayne Rooney is
Is your number
my number
3?
three. Yeah.
Okay, go then. Your number dos.
So, Alan Shearer.
Controversy. I can't believe you've done that. As if I can't believe it.
No, look, he's it's you can't ignore him. And any top five list that he's not in, there's obviously some serious bias shit going on. But at the same time, the fact of the matter is, he's not technically as good as any of the other players on this list. But in terms of goal scoring ability, he's the best, and he's the best at the Premier League scene. He's the best. Is he? Oh, actually, is he the best finisher? Ronaldo's probably the best finisher, but
He's sort of striker.
he's up there. Yeah, he's up there with the best finishers the Premier League's ever seen. You don't, like you said, you don't get a record like his playing for a team like that without being something special.
No.
Um, so yes, Alan Shearer. It's just he just wasn't as he didn't win anything. That's not his fault. I appreciate that, but he could have joined United. Like United, Ferguson was desperate to get Alan Shearer to sign for United. It just never happened. He just wasn't interested. And like I think he probably regrets it a bit. Um, but yeah, it's that's not the reason he's number two, by the way, that he hasn't won anything, but it's just a part of the reason. Um,
Got a Premier League.
so yeah. Anyway, so yeah, number two,
Number 2 is Alan Shearer.
Shearer.
I'm pretty sure I know what your number 1 is, and it'd be diabolical if he wasn't your number 1 now. Fuck me, talk about lists. If he weren't your number 1 now, but go ahead, tell us what your number 1 is.
Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Oh, I thought so, mate. Unbelievable player.
No, mate, Nistelrooy was unbelievable, but
He
it's
was.
Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
Thierry Henry was just something else. We talk about like technical ability, and on this list, Rooney is the closest thing to Henry in terms of just being that good. I remember the goal against United where the ball's come in, he's flicked it up, and then turned on the volley over Barthez. Incredible. He was Mr. Arsenal. Um, I find it hard to believe that he didn't win a Ballon d'Or while playing for Arsenal. Did he win a Ballon d'Or at all? Actually,
I don't think he did, mate.
he
No.
didn't, did he?
No.
He came second, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Um, Shocking, shocking. He's one of the best players in Premier League history. Full stop. Um, Incredible player and a good person as well. Really good pundit. Always interested to hear what he said. Um, just
Love his mentality.
good intellect. Yeah, good intellect, good mentality. Reads the game well. Doesn't talk bollocks either. Doesn't talk a load of bullshit, and it's not self-indulgent shit either. It's just good
Not very biased either.
analysis. No, 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 not at all. He's just a good analyst. Um, so yeah, Thierry Henry, like you said, I personally, I can't see how anyone could not have him as number one. Again, we've spoken about this in the previous episode. It's all a very personal thing. Obviously, earlier in this episode, you said about Cantona again being a very personal choice, and I get it, completely get it, and completely appreciate it. But yeah, Thierry Henry, superb. I mean, I just can't. He could do everything. There wasn't anything he couldn't do. Um,
He,
I don't know what else to say really.
could he do it playing for Blackburn or Newcastle? That is the question, though.
Yeah,
He's
mate.
he's only played for Arsenal and Barcelona in his career. How do we know he's going to be doing it?
It's a fair point. I mean, it is a fair point. I think the build and everything will have a part to play in this. I don't know if any of the others would have done it quite as well as Shearer in either of those teams. But that doesn't make Shearer the best fucking striker in Premier League history.
Mate, it's a game of opinions, as I've said after every single episode we've done. And I give my opinion. I'm happy to give my opinion. If anyone challenges it, I still don't give a fuck. But I'll listen to it. I won't take it in, but I'll listen to it. I might probably won't even do that, to be fair. So yeah, if you've liked the episode today, please give it a like. Please drop in the comments box. Please drop your top five. I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with myself. Probably not many people will disagree with your list, Rez, because it's pretty spot on. I'm happy to accept it. That's what I believe. So it is what it is. Whether people think it's wrong or right, it is what it is. And yeah,
Yeah,
please.
no, there's only two opinions. There's the wrong one and my one.
It's like an Eric Cartman moment, that was.
Yeah.
Can I respect my authority? Alright, so
But yeah,
that's
so we'll do managers next then, I guess.
yeah, we'll do managers next. I was going to say to you just a couple other things. I'll suggest it off air, and we'll talk it through when we go through some more suggestions for stuff as well. But thank you very much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.
See you all soon.